Kia ora everyone, my name's Zach, I love rugby, welcome back to Hakatime Rugby. Okay guys, game 2 is getting underway and I'm going to give you a preview of all the action and what you can expect, and I'm also going to make a prediction for this game towards the end of the video, so make sure you stick around for that. Firstly guys, let's recap how game 1 went, and obviously the areas that the Springboks were dominant and were able to get the win. So firstly, they were dominant at the breakdown. Malcolm Marx was outstanding in his 50th match, obviously man of the match performance, and just able to swing momentum back to the breakdown towards the Springboks at will, and therefore resulting in territory and possession dominance there to the Springboks. They were dominant at the scrum, as they seem to be always, although the All Blacks did get their own moments, so they'll be looking to build on that. Dominant at the high ball, now that is one contestable area that I think is going to be really a hot topic for this coming game, so it's something that we're going to keep a close eye on. Dominant in building scoreboard pressure. It's often a criticism of the Springboks that they don't tend to come away with enough points when they are dominant, but in this game they were able to keep the scoreboard ticking over, accumulating points and building real scoreboard pressure. They also managed the game clock extremely well, providing times where their big forwards could take breaks and obviously able to maintain those areas of dominance that we know that they do typically thrive. And on the All Blacks side, I thought it was the worst attacking performance that I've seen from the All Blacks ever. Right, it just looked like a team that were bereft of ideas, weren't exactly sure how they wanted to play, where they should play, and therefore were just continuing to make uncharacteristic errors there. I thought the defense was very, very good, and one thing that they did extremely well, which I think they can build on, is they were able to stop, a real key weapon of the Springboks, which is the line-out maul. So the Springboks weren't making a lot of territory or ground in their line-out mauls, and therefore the All Blacks were having some real periods of success in defence. One thing they definitely did not do well is manage territory or possession. I've covered a number of reasons why, but included in that was ill discipline. But it's going to be interesting now that we have seen a number of changes into the lineups. Will that have a material change in a lot of those factors that played out in game 1, or will we see the exact same outcome that we did there in game 1? So let's look at those changes. Firstly, for the Springboks, actually both teams, a lot of changes in the front row, but for the Springboks, in comes Oxenish. Joseph Duane starts at hooker. Bongi and Bonambi unfortunately unable to play this game. Still surprised that Malcolm Marx wasn't retained in the starting 15. I know he does have that impact role off the bench, but he was so dominant in game 1 that you thought they might try to persevere with that. But they've gone with Joseph Duane. Other changes, Duane Vermeulen. So if they are lacking in any way at the breakdown, Duane Vermeulen is certainly going to plug that gap, and is also going to plug that gap with ball in hand and under the high ball. So those strengths that we mentioned for the Springboks just continue with inclusion of someone as experienced and dynamic as Duane Vermeulen there. Jaden Henricks retained at halfback after Faf unfortunately ruled out for this game. We know that he came in for majority of that game, sort of 79-80 minutes. In the end he played, so and he showed that he can execute the game plan for the Springboks as good as any other halfback, so nothing lost there, that is for sure. Jesse Creel comes in for Kurt Liarense. Obviously he has been suspended for 4 matches with the high ball contest, which we will get to because I think there's going to be huge ramifications on the high ball in this game, but Jesse Creel comes in to plug that gap. And that's the starting lineup, and what you can say obviously is that it's more of the same expected here for the Springboks. They do not lose anything in their key strengths: scrum, breakdown, ability to contest the high ball, game management. And if anything, they're slightly improved with the inclusion and experience of Duane Vermeulen. To the bench, Malcolm Marx takes up that bench spot. Other changes, Herschel Jantjies comes in to cover that reserve halfback, and Jasper Wies is there as well on the bench. So, as I mentioned, more of the same expected there from the Springboks. And to the All Blacks, and this is where we're going to see a couple of crucial changes. So the front row, Ethan de Groot comes in for his first start of the season. Samisono Taukeiaho retained there at hooker. I thought he had a really good game with ball in hand. Is obviously a physical player, so he brought a lot of dynamicness to the All Blacks game and was great in defence as well. And Tyrell Lomax comes in to start for the first game of his season, at least the first start of the season. Very interesting selections there at front row. Obviously a lot more youthful, some might say inexperienced, but I think dynamic front row selections. Shannon Frizzell gets the nod at blindside flanker. So he didn't have a great game, obviously, in the limited minutes that he had in game 1, but we have seen a great season from him at Super Rugby level, and I expect him to offer a lot more in this match than he did in that first game. So a good start would be catching the ball, because obviously there were a number of drop balls, but if he can start to get, ball in good position, he is really dynamic with the ball in hand, and I think should be able to help get over the game line a little bit more than Akira Ioane was. He also brings a bit more physicality to that role than Akira Ioane. So I think a really good inclusion, and good to give him another full run here at blindside flanker. Other major changes, Richie Mo'unga comes in. Now, game management has been, and I guess just general attacking play has been a real criticism of the All Blacks in the run that they've had this year. And I think the inclusion of Richie Mo'unga should vastly improve that. Now, there has been a lot made about the battle between Richie Mo'unga and Beauden Barrett, and in my opinion, Richie Mo'unga should have started against Ireland. But great to see him get the nod here. What you can expect is improvements in game management. I think you're going to see a bit more continuity, and there's a bit more of a combination established there with David Havili, Will Jordan obviously there as well. So I think we might see an improvement in the attacking play and game management from the All Blacks. And then when we look to the bench, Cody Taylor returns, taking up a bench spot there. George Bauer moves to the bench. Fletcher Newell will get his first start in an All Blacks jersey, so congratulations to him and his family. Akira Ioane on the bench, and Beauden Barrett there. Great to see that he's not seriously injured after the incident with Curtly Arendse, and he takes up a bench role. And I think that is Beauden Barrett's best position, is right there as a dynamic impact player off the bench, particularly when you look at what is needed at international level at 10 is a bit more game management, and I think you get that from Richie Mo'unga. So this All Black squad is trending in the right direction, although it might be a little bit too late to save Ian Foster. That remains to be seen, but I think they give themselves a really good opportunity, a really good chance to make improvements and build on that first game defensive performance in this match with those selections. Okay guys, now that we've covered the teams, I'm going to make a bold, massive, huge prediction. And some might think I'm crazy after that game one and the performance that the All Blacks had, but I actually think there are enough minor changes here made by the All Blacks that might actually tip this game in their favour. We spoke a lot in the preview and post-match review of Game 1 about the Springboks continually winning lots of those micro little battles throughout. So it was the scrum, it was the high ball, it was the breakdown. I think leaving out Malcolm Marx is a huge mistake for the Springboks. Obviously, the work from other forwards at the breakdown will certainly help them, be sufficiently strong at the breakdown. But Malcolm Marx was a man possessed, and not to use his skills at the breakdown, in my estimation, is not ideal, and probably an error there from Ninaba and for the Springboks. Other areas that I can see the All Blacks improving, I can see them improving in just pure work rate when we look at the front rowers. So Ethan de Groot out there with something to prove. Samisona Tokeaho, we know that he has, great with ball in hand, dynamic player around the field. And then Tyrell Lomax, also something to prove. Scrummaging, I think that these guys can really hold the scrum. They may not get parity, but they can hold the scrum against the Springboks, and that might be enough to tip some of those micro battles just in the favour of the All Blacks. Shannon Frizzell brings some physicality. I expect him to really challenge the gain line and possibly help the All Blacks get a little bit more forward momentum in attack. And if they can start to get a bit more of that forward momentum, then players like Richie Mo'unga, who has every trick in the book, he can game manage, he can obviously run a really, really strong attacking team, and he has continuity with a number of those players there from Crusaders level. And I thought one of the biggest contrasts, which we're actually seeing play out now in the All Blacks game, is when you look at the Super Rugby final, the differences between the Crusaders and the Blues. Right now, the All Blacks are playing a lot like the Blues. And no disrespect to Beauden Barrett, he's a fantastic player, one of my favourites of all time. But I just think Richie Mo'unga offers that little bit more in attack. He offers a little bit more game management options, territory possession, and he offers a lot more in attack, I think, with these players around him. David Havili, Will Jordan. I would have liked to have seen Will Jordan start at fullback and also include Sevu Reece here. And ideally, if Jack Goodhue was fit, there's another player that you can throw in there, because the All Blacks are really lacking confidence in attack. And if you start to put players with existing combinations around each other, that really helps to lift some of the confidence, and I think is one of the keys to unlocking the All Blacks attack. So I don't think the selections go all the way to the end that Ian Foster needs it to, but I think he's starting to put pieces to the puzzle in the right positions that I think can have major impact and swing some of the lack of confidence issues, poor attacking, back in favour of the All Blacks. Okay guys, I do want to touch on one main factor in a little bit more detail, and that is the high ball. Now, we know that Ian Foster came out and he was really unhappy with that incident between Beauden Barrett and Kurtley Aronsay. But he also highlighted a moment in the 10th minute of game 1 where he said that Aronsay was allowed to get away with contesting the high ball, but not really trying to catch the ball. And that was an interesting observation from Foster. He has since gone to the refereeing counterparts and asked for a bit of a please explain. Now they have come back to say that they got that incident wrong, and that there'll be heightened vigilance on the high ball. So this is another major attacking weapon for the Springboks. And Ian Foster's main issue is that players are coming through to disrupt the ball and not necessarily trying to take the ball cleanly. And he thinks that that is something that the referees need to police a little bit more rigidly. So whether or not they do remains to be seen, but I can tell you right now there will be heightened focus on the high ball, and that is a significant weapon of the Springboks. And I think if there is that real focus, that might be another one of these little battles that you can see start to tip in favour or towards the All Blacks. And that might be enough. All of these little areas might be just enough to give the All Blacks a little bit of go forward, to give them a bit more confidence, and to potentially get over the line in this game. And I have the utmost respect for Springboks fans, for the Springboks team. Those who follow the channel and have done for a long time will know that I tipped the Springboks in the World Cup final. But today, I'm going with the fact that we are finally starting to see a number of pieces to the puzzle in the right positions for the All Blacks. They haven't gone as far as they need to, and that a number of these minor battles might be contestable enough to give the All Blacks go forward, to give them confidence, and to allow them to get the victory in this game. Now that's a bold call, and you guys will hold me accountable for that, I am sure. But that's how I see the game in this game. One way or another, let's hope for another repeat of what was a fantastic game 1. This is an old-time rivalry, obviously, guys. So All Blacks versus Springboks, there is no better occasion, there is no bigger rivalry, and I'm looking forward to a packed-out crowd really bringing the atmosphere in this game as well. Enjoy the rugby, guys. All the best. Talk soon.